Hello everyone, I am Dr. Muzammil Yakatali, and in this lecture, we will discuss sodium, the chief cation for the extracellular fluid. We will cover its distribution, sources, absorption, functions, clinical disorders, and dietary requirements. Sodium is the chief cation of the extracellular fluid, meaning it is the most abundant positively charged ion outside our cells. Total body sodium content is about 4,000 milliequivalents. This is distributed as follows. 50% is found in bones, where it reserves or serve as a reservoir. 40% is in the extracellular fluid, including blood plasma and interstitial fluid. And 10% is in soft tissues. This distribution highlights sodium's primary role in maintaining extracellular fluid volume and osmotic balance. The major source of sodium in the diet is the common salt or sodium chloride. 10 grams of sodium chloride contains approximately 4 grams of sodium. Other good sources include bread and baked goods, whole grain, leafy vegetables, nuts, eggs, milk, and in many parts of the world, processed food contributes significantly to daily sodium intake, often exceeding recommended levels. Now, come to the absorption of sodium. Sodium is readily absorbed in the gastrointestinal tract with very little, less than 2%, normally found in feces. This efficient absorption ensures that the body can quickly replenish sodium stores. However, in conditions such as diarrhea, large quantities of sodium are lost in the feces, which can lead to dehydration and electrolyte imbalance. What about the normal sodium levels? The normal concentration of sodium in plasma is 135 to 145 milliequivalents per liter. As the chief cation of the extracellular fluid, sodium plays a central role in determining the osmolarity or concentration of the blood. Plasma sodium levels are primarily regulated by aldosterone, a hormone produced by the adrenal cortex. Aldosterone acts on the kidneys to increase sodium reabsorption and potassium excretion, thereby maintaining sodium balance. Let's come to the biochemical function of the sodium. Sodium performs several essential biochemical functions in the body. Very first one is it regulates the body's acid-base balance along with hydrogen ions by influencing bicarbonate reabsorption in the kidneys. Sodium helps maintain blood pH within the normal range. Second, sodium is required for the maintenance of osmotic pressure and fluid balance. Third, sodium is necessary for normal muscle irritability and cell permeability. Fourth, sodium is needed for intestinal absorption of glucose, galactose, and amino acids through a process called secondary active transport. In this process, the movement of sodium down its concentration gradient provides the energy to transport these nutrients against their concentration gradient into the cell. And finally, sodium is necessary for initiating and maintaining the heartbeat. The cardiac action potential depends on the influx of sodium through the voltage-gated sodium channels. Now come to the excretion of sodium. Sodium is primarily excreted via the kidneys. The kidneys filter large amounts of sodium each day, and the most of it is reabsorbed under the influence of aldosterone. Excessive sweating also causes considerable loss of the sodium. This is why athletes and individuals working in hot environments need to replenish both water and electrolytes, especially the sodium. Reabsorption of sodium in the kidneys is controlled by aldosterone. When aldosterone levels are high, more sodium is reabsorbed and less is excreted in the urine. Now, let us discuss hyponatremia, or the condition in which the sodium levels falls below the normal range of 135 to 145 milliequivalents per liter. Causes of hyponatremia include diarrhea and vomiting, chronic renal diseases, Addison disease, which results in aldosterone deficiency and impaired sodium reabsorption, overhydration, where excessive water intake dilutes the sodium concentration, the edema. Manifestations of hyponatremia include reduced blood pressure and circulatory failure. And severe hyponatremia can lead to neurological symptoms such as confusion, seizures, and coma due to brain swelling. Now come to the hypernatremia that is characterized by an elevation of the serum sodium levels above 145 milliequivalents per liter. Symptoms include high blood pressure and fluid overload. And the causes of hypernatremia include Cushing syndrome, where excess cortisol leads to sodium retention. Number 2 is the prolonged administration of cortisone, ACTH, or sex steroid hormones. Number 3 is the loss of water from the body causing dehydration, as occurs in diabetes insipidus, where the kidneys cannot concentrate urine. And finally, rapid administration of sodium salts, such as in intravenous fluid given in hospitals, can lead to hyponatremia. As you can on the screen, the illustration of showing the Cushing syndrome and Addison disease. Now, let's discuss the edema. That is a condition characterized by abnormal accumulation of fluid in the interstitial spaces. In edema, along with water, sodium concentration in the body is also elevated. And causes may include the pregnancy, placental and steroidal hormones, heart failure, where the heart cannot pump blood effectively, leading to fluid backup, kidney failure, and the liver failure. Treatment includes administration of diuretic drugs, which increases the urinary output of water along with sodium, thereby reducing the fluid overload. As you can see, the illustration is showing the edematous tissues, right? Now, let's come to the dietary requirements of sodium. The daily requirement of sodium varies by age. For normal adult of about 60 kg of weight, the daily requirement of sodium is 1 to 3.5 grams per day. For infants, the requirement is on the lower side, 0.1 to 0.5 grams per day. And for children, the requirement is 0.3 to 2.5 grams per day. It is important to note that many individuals consume more sodium than recommended, particularly from the processed and restaurant foods. Excessive sodium intake is a major risk factor for hypertension and cardiovascular diseases. To summarize this discussion on sodium, let's chalk down its key points. Sodium is the chief cation of the extracellular fluid with a total content of about 4,000 milliequivalents. Common salt is the major dietary source. Sodium is readily absorbed and excreted primarily by the kidneys under aldosterone regulation. Its functions include maintaining osmotic pressure, fluid balance, acid-base balance, nerve transmission, and nutrient absorption. Hyponatremia occurs with the sodium loss and water excess, while The hypernatremia occurs with water loss and sodium excess. The daily requirement is about 1 to 3.5 grams for adults. Thank you for listening. In our next lecture, we will discuss chlorine. Thank you very much.